Good afternoon, guys. My name is Ryfrost, and today we're going to be looking at what you can do week 1 and 2 of the Shadowlands expansion. We're going to be looking at callings, the Maw, Torghast, anima, and much more. Let's jump right in. And don't forget, guys, before I start, I post every single Wednesday and Sunday. We're going to be doing a lot of Shadowlands videos, from gold making guides, Mythic Plus guides, Castle Nathria raids, rated battlegrounds, and pretty much everything that we can. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up, write a comment down below, and I'll see you guys soon. So let's jump right in. So the first and foremost, you will have realised that as levelling through with your first character, you'll jump from zone to zone. You'll go from Bastion to Maldraxxus to Ardenweald and then Revendreth, and each zone gives you a class specific ability and a signature ability. For example, for me, I am Necrolord, so I get Death Chakram, which is a pretty cool ability, and then everybody gets Fleshcraft. Everybody gets the signature ability depending on what class you're on, it doesn't matter, everybody gets it, it's Covenant specific. So at the very end, you'll get to pick what is best for you. You'll get to pick which Covenant you want to join. Now you can follow the guys on Wowhead, Icy Veins and find the best Covenant for your class. And mine is Nightfare, but I don't want to be a fairy, so I've gone with Death Chakram, because I believe one day us Necrolords will get our chance in the sun. But anyway, you'll get a choice of picking between the 4 Covenants. So you're going to be with the Covenant. You can switch, but you'll be with the Covenant for pretty much your entirety of Shadowlands. So pick one that you'll like. I like the aesthetics of the Necrolords. I like the gear that it gives. I like the aesthetic. It just looks really nice. So when you pick it, you'll be given the ability that you can go with, the mount, the gear, and it gives you a bit of description on what Covenant will give you. So once you've picked your Covenant, you'll be invited to their Covenant Sanction Hall, or whatever you want to call it, and you'll be surrounded with a bunch of people and probably not much direction in what to do. So the first thing you want to be looking at, and especially for me, is your Sanctum Upgrades. So Sanctum Upgrades are something that basically you start with nothing in your Sanctum, and you have to spend anima. Anima is your resource that you're pretty much going to be using. It's like war resource in Battle for Azeroth. You're going to be finding that around the world, collecting that, and spending it in your Sanctum. And for me, you have a choice of a few different things. And we always have a signature ability or a signature goal for the Covenants. So for me, mine is the Abomination Factory. You can check which is best for you. I do know with Revendreth, you go to a party. With Ardenweald, you look at a garden. I think you've got to work through a garden, and I can't remember what it is with Bastion. I think it's an arena that you're playing, but that is the one that you want to be working towards. However, in the meantime, because that does cost, it costs 1500 anima, and what I wanted to do straight away, and what I suggest for you to do straight away, is look at the command table. So the command table is very similar to what it was in Battle for Azeroth, Legion, and Warlords. However, it adds a bit of extra twist to it. So instead of having just a click and play, it has a bit of role play in it, and you can check it on the WoW Companion app as well. It's sort of like a back and forth type fight, where you essentially at the end of the day, it's pretty much the same, but it does add a little extra fun to it. Now you want to be focusing on your command table, because at the very end it gives you extra bonuses, and there's sometimes you get random missions that give soul ash, lots of gold, anima, all sorts, but you can get some mounts and cosmetics, so I want to be focusing on that straight away, and I suggest you to too. Around the world you will have world quests. However, the importance of completing the world quests aren't as important as before. So with BFA you had the option to level up your neck, your Heart of Azeroth. Because anima doesn't really give you any advantages to your player power, it is completely optional. But it is fun to do the world quests, and it is fun to get some gear, but it's completely optional. So you take that with a pinch of salt, it's completely down to you. But that is something you want to be doing throughout the expansion, so I thought I'd mention that first, because you're going to be spending a lot of time in your Covenant Sanctum Hall. So you'll probably notice that there isn't any emissary quests when you look at the map. Normally in BFA and in Legion there was in the bottom left something that you can go to a zone and complete. This time you don't have that. Instead, it is in your Sanctum Order Hall, which is there leaning on the fact that you're going to be spending a lot of time in there. It is a daily quest, but it is called Calling instead. And it is in your quest log, and it will say for me Calling 2 out of 3 because I've not finished today's. It's the same as before. You 2-day window to get it finished, and you can have 3 at any one time and complete it. They offer, so for example, this one here offers me Tribute of the Ambitious, which gives you a supply cache which has chance of having anima. Sometimes I've got gear in it, and sometimes I've just got some items that are grey where you can vend it, but it does give you quite a lot of gold. So make sure, you're probably looking on the map and thinking, where's my emissaries? I don't have it. Remember, it is in your Sanctum order hall, and you want to be getting those completed every single day for maximising your character's potential. You can also find your callings and everything else that you need for your Sanctum on this nice little handy button right here. So you'll see a list of callings there, and you'll also see here, which is called Renown. So Renown is something that you'll not be familiar with if you've not looked at the beta or bunches of different guides. Renown is essentially your leveling up system within your Sanctum. So at the moment you can only get within week 1 to level 3 Renown, and Blizzard have said that there are catch-up mechanics if you can't make the level 3 Renown or level 5 or level 7 within the weeks. There are catch-up mechanics, so I wouldn't worry too much about being behind. However, if you can, definitely look at leveling up your Renown. So what you'll find is every single week there'll be quests that the Sanctum gives you, that Covenant give you, to fulfill, and once you've done that you will naturally level up to the next Renown level. They've put a cap on it, so at the moment you can only get to Renown level 3. I believe next week it's Renown level 5, and then the week after level 7, and so on and so forth. So it is capped, but they have offered catch-up mechanics. But I would definitely recommend it. You will start at level 1 and you'll fulfill the quest to get to level 3. What I would suggest to do as well is make sure that you do dungeons. Now dungeons are quite a natural thing. The item level to get into normal is item level 144. The item level to get into heroic is 155, and mythic is pretty much after that. What you'll probably find, especially at the beginning of the expansion, I have noticed that the heroic dungeons are quite easy. So what you can do if you can't make it into heroics is you can look at the dungeon finder, and you can go into pre-made groups, and people are looking for heroic dungeon spams. At the very beginning, when it first came out, at the beginning of this week on the reset, there was a lot of people doing this, and I joined as item level 148. I couldn't get into heroic through the dungeon finder, but I can go in a pre-made group, and I geared up quite fast. So if you can't find heroics and it takes a little while, maybe you're a DPS and you don't want to be going through normal dungeons first, you can either create one or join a group, and you'll find that that fills up very quickly. And I will stress, it is very easy to get heroics done. It's not as hard as the originals of BFA's dungeons, so I definitely recommend, if you want to skip normal dungeons, you can go straight into heroic. There's something else that you can look at is possibly crafting your own gear, whether or not you are a crafter. For me, I've leveled up leatherworking, and I can create item level 151 leather or 151 mail sets. At the very beginning of the expansion, week 1 and 2, now is a perfect time to get in there and get on the auction house, because everyone's going to be wanting to sell their stuff for a profit, which naturally drives that price down. So if you want to get a really quick and easy sale, jump on the auction house and buy some of these item level 151s quite cheap. For example, the pauldrons were selling on Wednesday, 2 days after the release, they were selling for 15,000 gold. At the moment, they're selling for 2,000. So if you've got, say, 15,000 gold, buy yourself a set of 151 item level, which will help you in that heroic dungeon spam. So once you've done dungeons, and once you've done heroics, the only other option is Mythic. Mythic has been released. Once again, these next 2 weeks, you're not going to have access to Mythic Plus, so you can only do the dungeons once. So I definitely recommend getting a group and jumping straight into it. And I will say, the same as heroic, you don't have to be any specific item level at the moment. Everybody's trying to get into Mythic. There's no sort of boundary on what item level is the best and what item level is minimum, so take the advantage over these next 2 weeks and join the Mythic groups as quickly as possible. For example, my guild, we did heroics at item level 143, and we did mythics at item level 162. So there are no minimum requirements at the moment, and as you can see, there are people searching in the dungeon finder for mythic groups, and you can create your own. There's thousands of people playing right now, so you'll very easily get yourself into a mythic group, no problem. Once again, I would recommend looking at crafted gear to get your item level up. I would probably say at least be item level 155 plus to get into mythics, but everything's massively overtuned at the moment. They've not looked at class tuning, so some classes are overpowered, some classes are okay, but you won't have a problem. We managed to get everything done in about 5 hours on my hunter, and on my DK I'm tanking. I joined the dungeon at item level 160 I believe, and I managed to tank it no problem, so I don't think you guys should have any issues getting into Mythic. Something, if you want to increase your item level a little bit more, you can go for the Dark Moon cards on the auction house, and there are item level 190 epics floating around. However, don't spend a massive amount of gold because they will come very redundant when Mythic Plus comes out and Castle Nathri Raid. I picked up the Dark Moon card for my tank at 11,000 gold, whereas on Wednesday it was 240,000 gold. So the auction house is crashing at the moment because everybody's trying to sell their stuff. So if you do want a little advantage, buy yourself those gear, but only if it's cheap and only if it's something that you would justify buying. An item level 200 trinket for 11,000 gold, it is helpful and it's not too bad. Although my first mythic I did replace that item very quickly. As you've leveled through your quests for your covenant, you'll get to level 2, which is as far as you can get, and you'll get a quest to invite you to Torghast. So Torghast, there are a few different things. We'll visit that in depth in another video, but I would definitely recommend doing it because Torghast allows access to the Rune Carver, and Rune Carver is what allows you to craft your legendary. For legendary, you need Soul Ash, which is gathered in Torghast. In Torghast at the moment, there are 2 wings open. You can get through 6 floors of 3 different tiers on each one. So that's 6 floors per tier. I'm going to put out a full Torghast video, but stick around and subscribe and hit that thumbs up button because that is a very intricate zone, and it requires probably 10 to 15 minutes just explaining everything inside. So keep an eye out for that. But every single week you get access to Torghast that you can do, and you gather currency, and you can only get a maximum of 810 Soul Ash at the moment, and you need 1250 to craft your legendary, so you'll need 2 weeks before you can craft it. So I definitely recommend jumping in. Because I've left it till last, I want to recommend get some gear before you go into Torghast because it is cruel. Level 1, tier 1 and tier 2 probably isn't going to be hard, but tier 3 is horrible. And on my hunter, if I didn't have a pet, I'm marksmanship, but if I didn't have a pet and lose my lone wolf buff, I would have died and I would have never got through it. So I definitely recommend waiting until probably you've got item level 160 plus. I am currently at item level 177 or 176, and it was very hard for me to complete. So if you're going to wait until Monday night, Tuesday night after you've done some mythics and some heroics to get the most gear. So you've smashed out Torghast, you've managed to get it completed. It took me 3 hours to do both tiers, but I got there in the end, or both zones, or whatever you want to call it, instances. And now you're left with the Maw. So the Maw is the final thing you want to be doing, but you want to be doing it every single day. You look inside, and once you've done your campaign quest that invites you to Torghast and it invites you to look through the Maw, you'll visit that quite a few times, and it is in the intro quest line when you first start Shadowlands, so you'll get slightly familiar with it, but it is absolutely ruthless. And as I said, I've left it to last because you definitely want to get some gear before you start here, because it is quite a ball ache. So it offers you 2 different quests, and the rewards is Stygia. You also get Rep, and we'll go into that in a little bit later. But Stygia is the currency you use for Venari. So throughout your questing, or your original questing when you go through your levels, you'll meet Venari halfway through, and she will give you some quests to look at, which is like rule number 1, make sure you do this, rule number 2, make sure you do that, and so on and so forth. But what you want to be doing is you want to be going in here every single day, grinding out the Stygia, which will allow you to trade items. And the maximum allows you, and once you get enough Stygia, you can buy items such as the Cipher of Relocation, which you'll learn about in the intro quest line, but also special bonuses like Sigil of the Unseen, which allows you, once you get to level 3, there are more sworn assassins that come along and try to kill you. You get immunity from that. And once you level through your experience or your reputation with Venari, you get access to even further bonuses. And the one I'm looking forward to the most, and the one I want, is this. But I need to have a higher experience with Venari. As you're exploring through the Maw and doing the daily quests and doing the bosses that show up, you'll notice that you'll have a little icon here. And this is the Eye of the Jailer. It is an item that resets every single day, and you have tiers. So the only way you're going to be doing that and leveling up the tiers is when you complete bosses around the area, kill mobs, and complete the daily quests. So tier 1 is the Eye of the Jailer, the Soul Beacon, and that basically means soul seekers are now hostile to you. There are a lot of mobs around there that are yellow, and they suddenly go red when you get to tier 2. If you carry on and you manage to survive a bit longer and get yourself up to tier 2, you get Eye of the Jailer Soul Surge, which basically means that every now and again you will have the tower firing at you. And it's like an AoE that you'll get, and if you don't move out of it, you get trapped, and you have to click on the chains that trap you. And once you've survived through that, you'll get the next tier, which is the Hunted, Eye of the Jailer Hunted, and that means every now and again you'll have a little buff on the right hand side or a little debuff where it says you are being hunted, and you have which basically means that next time you get into combat, a assassin will spawn and try to kill you. So I've noticed for tier 4 there are a few different things, so whether or not the tooltip's changed or whether or not I've not noticed it before, but this time a elite assassin will come after you, which is the same as tier 3, but an assassin which is just higher HP and it hits harder will come and get you. However, at the very beginning of this week I had the Mossworn pick me up and try to kill me. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen with that. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that because Wowhead says something different to what it actually is. And then finally, Immediate Extermination, which is tier 5, which means you'll take increasing damage and be increasingly slowed until you leave or die. So you want to be keeping an eye and make sure that you don't get to that point. And then even finally, there is a special bonus one, is after you've completed all the Mythic Dungeons, you've completed all the Torghast tiers, you've done the daily maw, you've done every single calling, your renown's maximum that you can possibly do, you've got as much anima as you can possibly get. What else is there to do? You can gear some alts, you can level alts, which is going to be a video coming soon because you can do the Thread of Fate, which is an alternative leveling experience that instead of going through the campaign, you're allowed to pick up your Covenant class and signature ability straight away and start gaining renown and your anima and your reputation and everything with your Covenant straight away, so you don't have to wait until max level. I'm going to put a video on that coming out soon. But you can level up characters, but what I would definitely recommend, and this is one that I'm looking forward to doing next video, is to make some gold. So the intro quest line makes you go through the maw and then you end up in Oribos. You'll normally be about level 51. Now what I've noticed is all of the professions, crafting professions, there isn't a level cap, so you don't need to be level 60 to maximize your crafting up to, I don't know, Shadowlands level 100, Shadowlands level 175, depending on what profession it is. So what I've been doing is leveling through the maw on a few characters, maximizing my professions and making some gold. There is a lot of opportunity right now to flip the market, or especially buy crafting materials, craft the items and sell that crafted item for a higher profit. I've been doing it with your crafting where the materials cost me 300 gold and I've been selling the rings and the necks for almost 1,000 plus. And especially the very beginning of the expansion right now, there are a lot of people trying to sell their materials on the auction house, so now is a really good time to jump in, buy the items and the reagents and stuff we needed to craft the items, get them crafted and sell them on the auction house, because I've made almost 500,000 gold in the last week just doing this method. So I will be putting out a video soon on that, but that is something that you can do. All you don't have to, that is completely optional and it's not something to your main character. If you're a casual, you're probably only going to be leveling 1 or 2 characters, but if you want to, if you've got a lot of alts and you're in the money making business, that is a perfect opportunity to get there. And that's it guys, so we've covered callings, covered Covenant Sanctum, the Maw, Torghast, Mythics, Dungeons, and that is everything that you can possibly do that's required to maximize your character's potential in week 1 and week 2, because this is relevant for next week as well, because on reset there is nothing else you can do because Mythic Plus and Castle Nathri doesn't come out until the 8th of December. So right now is the perfect time to gear your characters up, get ready, perfect time to start with your legendary crafting, which will be from next week, and really start jumping in Shadowlands the right way. I've had a really good time making this video and I'm having such a good time in Shadowlands. I've leveled 2 characters to max, got almost 500,000 gold, got the buff Mythic Plus ready, and I'm going to be starting on a 3rd character soon. But this is probably one of my favourite expansions to date. It's just got a lot of stuff, but I like that it's not a lot of it's required, but it gives you a lot of different diversity. It's a completely different set of zones. It's something new that they've never done before, and I'm really looking forward to see what they do to expand that. But if you like this video, once again, videos coming out every Wednesday and Sunday. Hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up video, hit that thumbs up button, write a comment down below, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.